Chapter 1. The Gathering Storm. Vereza Flamesoul, a fiery tiefling sorcerer, stood at the edge of the battlefield, her long red hair swirling in the wind. A deep laugh escaped her lips as she clenched her staff, her eyes gleaming with a wicked spark. "Fireball solves everything," she muttered, already anticipating the chaos she was about to unleash. Around her, a small band of adventurers was gathering, ready to face yet another of the world's many threats. They didn't know it yet, but the coming storm would test them in ways they had never imagined. Tillo, Snappy-Tongue Bramblefoot, a halfling rogue with a sharp tongue and quicker wit, leaned against a tree, watching Vereza with a cocky grin. "Fireball? You've got to be kidding me. You're just mad 'cause you've got a little extra pop in your zap. You know, I prefer my explosions a little more subtle." "Keep talking, Tillo, and I'll subtly set you on fire," Vereza shot back, flashing a mischievous grin. Bryna Stalhjarta, the stout dwarf paladin, let out a grunt, adjusting the heavy warhammer strapped to her back. "You can flame all you want, but the true solution lies in strength and faith. I'll pray to the good god of beer, and we'll see whose solution is the strongest." Nessa Stenblama Underleaf, the elusive halfling rogue, only offered a brief nod from the shadows. She was already gone before anyone noticed, but they knew she'd appear when things got truly dangerous. And so, the unlikely band of adventurers set off, united under the banner of chaos and fire, even if their motivations were as different as their personalities. Chapter 2. The First Spark. The group arrived at the village of Ardent Hollow, a place known for its serene beauty and quiet reputation. But the stillness didn't last long. As they walked through the gates, they were greeted by the sound of panic and the scent of smoke. A massive fire was raging at the heart of the village. "Finally," Vereza muttered, cracking her knuckles. "This is exactly what I've been waiting for." Tillo rolled his eyes. "Please, tell me we're not going to start with Fireball again. You're not the only one who can make things burn, you know." "Oh, but I'm the best at it," she replied confidently, already stepping forward with her staff raised. The air crackled as fire danced at her fingertips. Bryna sighed. "This place doesn't need your flames, Vereza. It needs protection, strength." She raised her shield, ready to stand firm against whatever threat had caused the blaze. Tillo couldn't help but snicker. "Protection? With a hammer? Hope you don't miss, Bryna. If you do, I'll be sure to swipe a few pockets while you're distracted." Nessa, meanwhile, had disappeared into the shadows, her small form vanishing like smoke in the breeze. The source of the fire revealed itself soon enough. Giant fire-breathing lizards, clearly under the control of some malevolent sorcerer. Vereza didn't wait for anyone's approval. With a wicked grin, she raised her staff, a ball of fire swirling to life in her hand. "Fireball!" she shouted, launching the spell with a single flick of her wrist. The explosion was nothing short of spectacular. The fire-breathing lizards shrieked in agony as they were engulfed in flame, their forms disintegrating before their eyes. Vereza beamed. "There. Done." Tillo, still fanning smoke away from his face, gave a mock clap. "Impressive. But next time try not roasting the whole village." Bryna grunted, her shield still raised. "A bit much, don't you think?" Just then, Nessa reappeared from the shadows, as if summoned by the chaos. She casually dusted herself off and offered a smirk. "I'm sure you had it covered. Fireball, right? So predictable." Chapter 3. Tillo's Words. As the fire was finally brought under control, the group found themselves sitting at the local tavern, nursing their wounds and their egos. Vereza had enjoyed a moment of victory. Bryna was praying to her beer god for guidance, and Nessa had vanished once more. Tillo, leaning back in his chair, took a long sip from his tankard. "You know, it's all well and good to blow things up, but I like to think that a few well-placed words can work wonders too." "Oh? Do tell, Tillo," Vereza said with a raised brow, clearly uninterested in anything that didn't involve an explosion. Tillo grinned. "Well, let's say, hypothetically, you had a nobleman who was too stubborn to see reason. A little bit of charm, some quick words, and boom, problem solved. No fireballs needed." Vereza snorted. "I'll stick with the boom." Bryna gave Tillo a hard look. "Enough with the talk, Tillo. The world doesn't work on words alone." Sometimes you have to fight to stand firm or it all goes to chaos, and no amount of charm will fix that. Tillo waved a hand dismissively. Of course, Brenna, but what's your backup plan when your hammer isn't enough? Nessa, appearing once more in the doorway, finally spoke up. My backup plan is always me, she said with a sly smile, and I don't need a fireball to handle things. Chapter 4. The Shadow of the Sorcerer. The next day, the village elders requested the group's assistance in tracking down the sorcerer behind the fire-breathing lizards. The clues led them deep into the forest, where a dark tower loomed on the horizon. As they approached the tower, Vereza's eyes gleamed. You know what time it is? Don't you dare, Tillo groaned. Oh, I'm totally doing it. Vereza raised her hand and without waiting for anyone's input, cast Fireball at the base of the tower. The explosion echoed for miles, shaking the ground beneath them. That, Vereza said, is how you deal with problems. Now let's go clean up. Chapter 5. The Sorcerer's End. Inside the tower, they discovered the sorcerer, a deranged mage who had been using forbidden magic to control the creatures. But before he could cast his deadly spells, Vereza was already raising her staff. Here we go again, Tillo muttered. Fireball, Vereza cried, as flames engulfed the sorcerer's form. Chapter 6. Embers in the Dark. The sorcerer's body crumpled, smoke curling from the blackened edges of his robes. The smell of scorched parchment and burnt flesh filled the room. Vereza lowered her staff with a satisfied sigh. And that is why Fireball will always be my answer. Tillo stepped over the smoking corpse with a wrinkled nose. You know, I'm starting to wonder if you're actually a sorcerer, or just a very determined arsonist. Brenna planted her warhammer on the floor with a heavy thud. We came here for justice, not to burn half the forest to cinders. Justice, fire, it's a thin line, Vereza replied, brushing ash from her sleeve. Nessa was already rifling through the sorcerer's belongings, moving with quiet precision. She found a stack of weathered maps, the ink scrawled in jagged runes. He wasn't working alone, she said. These markings, they point to 3 other towers, each one older, and each one stronger. Stronger how? Brenna asked. Nessa's eyes flicked up, her tone unreadable. Let's just say, next time, Vereza, your favorite trick might not be enough. For the first time, Vereza hesitated, only for a heartbeat, but Tillo caught it. Chapter 7. The Long Road North. The road to the next tower wound through a stretch of cold, fog-draped marshland. Dragonflies hummed in the air, and the occasional ripple in the water hinted at unseen creatures lurking just below the surface. Brenna trudged ahead in full armor, every step accompanied by the clank of metal. We should have stocked up in Arden Hollow. My aleskin's running low. Didn't you have a barrel on your back? Tillo asked. I did, and then someone, Brenna shot him a glare, thought it would be clever to lighten my load while I was praying. Tillo smirked, flipping a coin between his fingers. If it makes you feel better, I traded it for a map to a shortcut. Vereza arched a brow. And by shortcut, you mean, Tillo's smirk widened. A path through the marsh that's only mostly safe. They didn't get far before they learned what mostly meant. Chapter 8. The Thing in the Marsh. The water erupted as a massive, eel-like creature surged up from the depths, its skin glistening with slime and jagged fins slicing through the air. Its eyes glowed faintly green, and its teeth looked sharp enough to bite through Brenna's armor. Finally, Vereza said, already raising her staff. No fire, Brenna barked. You'll set the whole marsh ablaze. Fine, Vereza muttered, one lightning bolt coming up. But before she could cast, the creature lunged, not at her, but at Tillo. The halfling barely had time to roll aside as its jaws slammed shut where he'd been standing. Nessa moved like a shadow, her twin daggers flashing in the dim light. She struck the creature along its flank, searching for weak points. Brenna waded in, shield first, hammer swinging in a blur of steel and holy light. Tillo, from the safety of a half-sunken log, cupped his hands around his mouth. Aim for the eyes. I think they're... Oh, never mind. It's angry again. It took the combined force of Brenna's shield, Nessa's precision, Tillo's quick distractions, and Vereza's reluctantly non-incendiary magic to finally drive the beast back into the depths. Soaked, panting, and covered in slime, the The group pulled themselves back onto the path. Veriza brushed muck from her hair. I hope you're happy, Brenna. No fire, no fun. Brenna just grunted. We all lived. That's my kind of fun. Chapter 9. Shadows in the Fog. That night, as they made camp on a patch of dry ground, the fog thickened around them until even the firelight seemed muted. Tilo sat sharpening his daggers, his tone unusually quiet. When that thing went for me, I thought just for a second I was done. Reminded me of something I'd rather forget. Veriza, sitting cross-legged by the fire, glanced at him. Oh? The great snappy-tongued Bramblefoot? Scared? Tilo gave a half-smile. Not scared, just reminded. I wasn't always this good at talking my way out of trouble. Nessa, from her place in the shadows, added softly, none of us were always what we are now. Brenna raised her tankard, which is exactly why we'll survive the next fight, together. Veriza tapped her staff against the ground. And maybe, just maybe, without too many fireballs. Tilo smirked. I'll believe that when I see it.